I'm Bill Dansby, a member of the Lansing 150 History Committee. I'm speaking with George Nugent, who is a retired president of the First of America Bank of Lansing, also a past president of the Michigan Bankers Association. George, could you tell us a little bit about the history of banking in Lansing, where we are today as compared to where we were then?
Sure, Bill, I'd be pleased to do that. The first full-fledged bank in Lansing was organized in 1864 and was the only chartered financial institution for 8 years. After passage of a bill to move the state capital to Lansing, there was more interest in starting new financial institutions, most of which were located on the four corners of Washington and Michigan Avenues, as of today. In 1886, the City National Bank was organized with Edward Sparrow as president, and this bank was strong enough to survive the panic of 1893 when 4 local banks failed, but this bank later succumbed during the Great Depression. The Union Building and Loan Association and Capital Savings and Loan were formed during the 1880s, and Capital Savings is now Fifth Third Bank, and Union Savings had merged into Capital Savings in the 1970s. One of the other banks to survive the panic of 1893 was the Lansing State Savings Bank, incorporated in 1892 and located at the southeast corner of Michigan and Washington. In 1921, the Lansing State Savings Bank merged with the American Savings Bank to form the American State Savings Bank. A merger with the Central Trust Company in 1958 resulted in the bank's name change to American Bank and Trust, now known as PNC Bank. At the north end of Lansing, and as that area developed, the Bank of Lansing opened at the corner of Grand River and Center in 1928. In 1932, after the folding of City National Bank at its location, the bank moved its main office to the northwest corner of Washington and Michigan, keeping its North Lansing office as a branch. It is still located at this downtown location and is known now as Comerica Bank. In 1941, Michigan National Bank was organized through a consolidation of Lansing National Bank and 5 national banks in outstate Michigan. Howard Stoddard came to Lansing from the Reconstruction Finance Corporation in Washington, which had been formed in 1934 to help banks survive the Depression. He became the president, and the organization became the first branch banking operation in the state. The most recent bank formed in Lansing is the Capital National Bank, organized in 1982 by Joseph Reed and local investors. After World War II and for the next 15 years, banking was essentially similar in organization, functions, and services as in the previous 100 years. While social and economic changes had changed through the years, banking in most of the U.S. had remained the same. Branching was only permitted in Michigan within 25 miles of the main office, and branches could not be located in another town, even East Lansing, for example, that had an existing bank in it. This was to protect existing banks from, quote, destructive competition. However, during the 1960s and 70s, competition from other financial entities, the use of technology, and the fact that people no longer spent most of their lives traveling within 25 miles of their home, in horse and buggy, for example, it became obvious that a change in bank branching rules were necessary. First, bank holding companies were authorized to facilitate purchase of other banks in the state, and then finally, statewide branch banking, which provided bank customers with access to their banking services on a statewide basis. Interstate banking legislation soon followed, and the merging of banking organizations within states and throughout the country has since occurred. The horse and buggy banking location restrictions and organization that existed for over 100 years finally gave way to the worldwide financial services industry we see today in Lansing.
Thank you, George. For the Lansing 150 Committee, I'm Bill Dansby.